Hey guys, today's another Friday, and we're doing the first part of the Bad Batch Season Finale, Episode 15, Return to Kamino. Now, if you haven't seen my previous reviews, take a look at the video description below, and I'll drop the links episode by episode where you could see my impressions and overall review of this first season. Before we get to it, my name is Ben, and I do Star Wars comic book and book reviews, character highlights, lore videos, all that fun stuff. If you're interested in this sort of content, please like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate your support. Now, before we get into the actual episodes, spoiler alert. Guys, I'm going to be talking about characters here. We'll discuss the story and what I expect from the final episode 16, wrapping up this first season. So once again, spoiler alert. If you have not seen this episode, please go and watch it before you check out this review. Now, let's get into it. So the episode is called The Return to Kamino. And very appropriately, we are returning home, so to speak. Just where this season and the show has started, we're coming back where the clones have originated from. And the moment that we come to the Kamino, obviously Hunter is being brought by Crosshair as a captive. And right away, you start seeing this very foreboding and dark atmosphere. You see like dark clouds and thunderstorm gathering, and there's very tense and foreboding atmosphere to it. And you honestly feel that these Republic and now Imperial ships hovering over it are like carry-on birds who are about to, feast on its prey. So we know that there's some kind of a finality in this episode. And I felt it makes a whole lot of sense narratively also to bring it there and to come full circle, because as George Lucas himself has stated numerous times, that he likes this repetition of patterns in Star Wars, whether it's visual cues or story-wise, and that's exactly what the show is doing. I felt it was a tribute to the style of filmmaking that George Lucas pursued in the films and as well as the Clone Wars show. So now we also see the team arrive to Kamino. Obviously, they're in pursuit of Crosshair and they want to rescue Hunter. And once again, Omega comes through and she says, look, there is a way to get in for us to without being noticed. And she reveals one of the things that we haven't previously seen anywhere before on Kamino, and it's the hidden tunnel that leads to Nala Se's secret laboratory. And Omega slowly starts kind of like unveiling details, and we get more of the Kamino's lore. And this was actually the lab where she was created, and she also has witnessed the Bad Batch crew being created as well. So it sort of made sense that she relates to them a bit more than other clones by calling them her brothers. And it kind of makes me wonder also, what other contingency plans do the Kaminons have? Because as we have seen throughout this episode, the Prime Minister of Kamino and the scientists, they have a gist of what's going on, and that the Empire is not going to keep them for much longer, because they no longer require clones. They would rather recruit soldiers into its army. So if they have this hidden tunnel and a hidden lab, which the Empire knows nothing about, it makes me wonder what other facilities they have scattered around this planet, or maybe even in the different planets. So it makes me curious how it's going to wrap up with the final episode and what we will see of the Kaminoans past this point, because as we will follow the review of this episode, something very, very final happens there with the city itself. And once they go deeper into the lab and they start exploring and figuring out a plan how to go about rescuing Hunter, they reunite with AZ-345, which is obviously the droid that was there in the beginning. And I felt it was a very touching and fun moment where we kind of don't see his fate. We see that he escapes capture because these new stormtroopers are destroying and disabling all the droids there, but he managed to escape. And now he's reunited with Omega. I have a strong feeling that he might become a mainstay in the show, because Star Wars has always been known to having some kind of droids, which once again, George Lucas has always stressed that there has to be some sort of comedy. You always want to have a gunslinger type of character like Han Solo, and the droids as well are a staple signature of what Star Wars represents. And we have this one little droid here, AZ, and honestly, from the start, he was very relatable and cute to me, and he kind of like worked pretty well as a couple with Omega. I really hope he becomes a sidekick. Of course, Crosshair now springs his trap. He knows that the team is coming for Hunter, and he's ready for them. And during this time, during the confrontation where the Bad Batch goes in and they're back to this training center where we see them earlier training, now they're trying to rescue Hunter. He's being a hostage held at a gunpoint by Crosshairs, and he reveals to them that his chip has been removed quite a while ago. And it's something that I have suspected all along in the show, because I always felt that it's a really powerful story device where the audience doesn't quite know what drives this character. Is it really just the inhibitor chip that we have seen before? Or is it something deeper, some emotional component to it? And maybe ideologically, he was so different and he felt betrayed by them. And that's exactly what he states in this episode. And I felt it was quite gripping and a sad moment, because regardless of them being on two opposite sides, they were brothers. And Crosshair felt left alone by them. Maybe, he's not in the right here, but still, you can understand what he's feeling, what he's going through. And he actually goes as far as sacrificing all the stormtroopers. He kind of takes them out with a single shot, and he tells them, look, join the Empire, join me, and together, we'll serve this stronger force, and we'll have, peace and order in the galaxy. And I felt it's kind of harkens back to Darth Vader trying to tempt Luke Skywalker, because this is how the Empire, Palpatine's Empire operates. It gives its subordinates this illusion of power, that they're somehow superior, and this is how they lure others into it and saying, look, join us and you will be a party to the strong new empire and you will reap all the rewards and benefits from it. So that was another really strong moment for me, where he tries to tempt Hunter. These two, I would say they are sort of kind of like the leaders of this pack, Hunter especially, and that's how he's tempted, like, look, come back. So that was pretty interesting. As I said before, I mentioned it in my previous reviews, this was my suspicion all along with Crosshair and his chip, and it has been confirmed. And it was fun to watch the turn of events for a brief moment. So Omega tries this distraction. She doesn't know what's going on the floor above, and she activates all the training droids, and all the craziness ensues. All the action is happening, and Crosshair is forced to join the battle for a brief moment and help them out, because he still believes that he can bring them to his side. So while we see them fight on the one side once again, I knew it's not going to last, because it would have been too easy and too quick for him to say, well, okay, I was a bad guy for a little bit, now I'm bad with the good guys, you're my brothers, everything, we squash all the beef, it's going to be nice from this point forward. Not quite so. At the end of the battle, he still Hunter points his gun at him, and he disables Crosshair. And it really makes me wonder, where are we going with the Crosshair character next? First of all, I want to discuss Kamino. We have this very, very tense and tragic cliffhanger moment. Obviously, we have one more episode to go, but we finally see the destruction of Kamino. And, before we do that, we see this, we hear the very powerful tune from episode 2, which kind of like illustrates that brewing emotion and all these like waves on the Kamino and the thunderstorms and everything. And we see the last vestiges of the Republic gone. And the Kamino is now a prison to the Bad Batch. They're left behind there. And just before we cut away to the Bad Batch trying to escape and flee the bombardment, we see these empty rooms and cafeterias and cloning facilities where, guys, it was a very powerful, very emotional moment for me, because we have lived with the idea of these clones, that these brothers in arms, protecting the Republic, and they're really being the stars of the Clone Wars show. And now all of it is being erased by the Empire, and that's exactly what they do. And it's their villainy being demonstrated very, very clearly here. This is what they do. If they no longer require your services, they will discard you. So it begs the question, how will they escape? As I mentioned before, I'm also interested to see what other things they have access to, what other secrets Omega perhaps may know. Maybe she's more traveled on the surface of the Kamino. Now, we know that she has never left Kamino before, but maybe she knows, she's aware of some secrets that the scientist, Nala Se, is aware of, and there are other things that they can get access to on the Kamino planet. Maybe there's surface there too, not just the oceans. And maybe there's on the underwater facilities where other resistance Kaminoans kind of live, or like a small party which is not a part of the main Kaminoan culture. That would be really cool to see, for them to stay for the remainder of the next episode on Kamino and have more hidden secrets and lore being revealed to us. And I'm mostly intrigued where we're going to go with the Crosshair. There's so many different avenues to explore. Obviously, I don't believe that he can ever reinstate himself back with the Empire and say like, oh, my bad, I kind of messed up there, I still want to serve the Empire. So one of the options that I could see for Crosshair, he will not go back to the Bad Batch. He still feels betrayed. He's not one of them. And perhaps one of the occupations that he can pursue is bounty hunting. He could say, look, I'm done with the Empire. I'm done with these guys over here. They're traitors. I'm just going to follow my own path. I'm going to become a bounty hunter. And of course, we see that with Boba and other renowned bounty hunters there. Another option I see there is that indeed he tries to return to the Empire, but Admiral Rampart will have none of it. He's like, no. You step over line once, we cannot trust you. And what's going to happen next, and even a more tragic turn of events, that the Empire will keep experimenting on Crosshair, refining their formula, maybe install more cybernetic chips in him, and we'll see the precursor to the Darth Vader, Darth Vader is already there. He's cursed. He already has been created as this android. Maybe post-Vader technology where the Empire tries to experiment and create these perfect, obedient soldiers who are like basically mini Darth Vaders, who are another version of humans with cybernetic implants who serve the Empire without the force abilities like the Vader is, and thus they are less threatening to the Empire as well. So that would be also really cool to see. I'm very excited for the show to wrap up. And of course, we got the news this week that season 2 has been officially confirmed, and honestly, it was no surprise to me. I knew from the first couple of episodes that we saw of the show, it's too highly produced, it's too deep, like and epic in its storytelling scope, and say like, look, we're gonna show you this canvas of the post-Republic galaxy. We're gonna show you how the Empire slowly, holds a grip of this galaxy. And I felt there's no way it's going to be a one-off kind of season. No way, because there's so much storytelling to tell, and it's Lucasfilm and it's Disney, and they're invested there, and they want to go for the long haul and give us the entertainment that goes, for many years to come. Anyway, guys, I really enjoyed this episode. As every single other episode in the show, I felt that it contributes either to characters or the overall story arc, or have like a cool little moments that are just fun and interesting to watch, but none of the episodes felt escapism or that they were just there as a plug or filler. Not at all. Every single episode served its purpose. Anyway, my name is Benjamin. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I do Star Wars comic book reviews, character highlights, lore videos. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel, hit like on this video, and leave the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the show as a whole and of this episode. I would love to interact with you. And I'll see you later, guys.